Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bobby Breaks. This is my partner, Rob Nasty. And together, we are Rob Nasty Breaks. I'm gonna get some. Good God, y'all.
Yo, so it's my pleasure today to be speaking to Rob Nasty, representing Forever We Rock, Floor Gangz, and Star Child La Rock. Does that sound correct, Rob Nasty?
Yes, that's right. I'm like in like 10 crews, so.
Okay. Is there any more you want to shout out, or those three is cool?
No, that's fine. It's like this is the thing with a lot of b-boys who are kind of like in the top tier, is they wind up being recruited by a lot of crews, and they wind up saying yes for whatever reasons, usually because they want to battle, or they're accessible at the time, right? If I'm in a certain country, a certain crew, like you're our crew now. You're like one, right? Like he's in like a million crews, so.
I was just watching something with Po1 where he was on Focus has a YouTube channel, bboy dojo, and he was at the start. He was like, "Yo, I just want to say there's a crew that I was in that I haven't shouted out for ages, and I feel like I want to shout them out." It's funny that you say that.
Well, that's the thing. That's the primary thing about being kind of like a top tier b-boy or dancer or traveling one, a traveling dancer, is that. You know, especially a b-boy, you'll find kinships wherever you're at, you're gonna kind of like couple and group with like minds, and then they're gonna recruit you. You know,
exactly.
This has been happening with me for like 10 years. So,
Okay.
Yeah, and like my primary crew. The actual truth is, I retired from all the crews. This is the actual truth.
Really?
Yes. Only because I'm moving into a different place in my life. And I don't like the dependency of crews. Like I'm a firm believer of individuality and individualism, and I'm moving into different places where it's like I'm like applying to industrial light and magic, things like that. That's Star Wars, Disney. Like I'm applying to them as a motion capture director.
Damn, man.
Yeah. So I mean, dance has and for all you dancers listening, the dance life and it's really the network that's like kind of like the most valuable thing with the community, is that I was able to travel the world and stay at people's houses because of the network. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how I built my brand and built rapport with wherever I was. I built a rapport. You know what I mean? So, and that's the thing that's what Poe does. There's times where we would be staying in the same place, right? Because like, there's a jam, and like we know the promoter, and we're staying at the promoter's place, and like big up to Poe1, because he's a very good friend of mine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yes.
So right now you want Rob Nasty to represent Rob Nasty to represent yourself a bit more than necessarily any crew.
Yeah, it's more my own personal branding, right? And I feel that crews, you can't maintain, like, for example, if you're going to join a crew that has like 100 members, it's a hard thing to keep up with who's a knucklehead and to be associated with that knucklehead.
Right. It can do you more damage than good.
Yeah, it actually does, because it's like I'm a firm believer, if you're going to have a crew, have like 5 people. And this is my always my theory, where it's just like, if you ever watch the movie The Warriors, you don't want to be the orphans. If you watch the movie
The orphans was getting shitted on by everyone. No one respected the orphans.
Right, but then they recruit. You know what I mean? The whole thing is to recruit, and I'm looking at it like, well, you might as well be the Avengers and have like a very small, tight unit that's very strong individually. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You can stand on your own.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, because I've really been around. Me and my brother, Pro1, have been around before the culture transformed into an industry. Like, really, we were at the cusp of when that happened. And it's a different perspective, where it's just like, when we started dancing, it was really a social thing and for fun, then it becoming a profession. Where to me, B-Boy Dojo is excelling in how marketing and providing content and teaching people and spreading culture, but then there's a very concise way and a very professional mannerism where when I learned like rock from New York, it was very much not like that. It was very much gritty street. You know, it's very actually when I learned, because I learned from like 50, I lived in New York for a little while and I learned like 50 different styles, but then it's just kind of going into the belly of the beast. Not everyone's educated in that era. You know, now it's different, you know, where we got guys like Focus, who's just like, okay, this is how I'm going to present the business. And this is, you know, and to me, that's how you're supposed to do it. Yeah. Rather than there's a perspective of like, oh, you got to be street and you got to keep it real. And no, you don't. Actually, you don't. We've kind of moved on from those places, you know what I mean, of street. And I understand.
Well, we spoke to Focus. We had an interview with Focus, and it was real interesting because I think that he was, because obviously, you know, he's been around a long time.
Oh yeah,
and he came up during during a different era, and I think he appreciated how he came up.
Yes,
you know what I mean. But at the same time, like he would say that most people that are coming up now, like that's not how people are coming up now, if that makes sense.
But again, where it's like I'm 45, right? And I've been in this scene since 91. And I've seen like when you put that in perspective, because a lot of the industry type movements started happening with crews like Rockforce, which I was a part of and I grew up with, because they're the first ones to really franchise, right? They're the first ones to, like, you know, they won Battle of the Year 98, but by 99 they recruited Iron Monkey and Reveal, and then, you know, Family versus Rockforce is probably one of the most legendary tapes.
Yeah.
VHS there is for breaking. Like, this is undisputed. It's just that launched, to me, that launched everything, because everything before that was very grassroots. There when like the Americans first started going to Europe, or even California b-boys started going to Florida, and that was a big deal when that happened. Where East Coast b-boys and West Coast b-boys are like, and we're talking like 94, 95, 96. To see that and see those people grow, and some of them still doing industry work or part of the community, and others completely dropping out. Do you see what I'm saying? I've been around all of it. I've seen all of it. So it's a weird perspective. You know, like me and Poe's a few years, like maybe a year older than me. So he has a different perspective because he was in Puerto Rico and New York and he traveled a lot. Where I stayed in California, in the Northern California, where I saw style elements grow. You know, I know the original members of Rockforce and Renegades. I know who their elders are, and that's who I grew up with. You see what I'm saying? So it's a different thing where we saw a bunch of street kids, and then we saw, you know, Rockforce versus the Family. It's a completely, you know, because this is the really the birth for me of the b-boy industry, of the industry, where it's not. This is not necessarily culture. This is the industry, where you know, and why, you know, things of people, you know, where people are crossing crews was because of the industry. There's an event. If we get this guy, he joins our crew, we have a chance to win how much ever money. You know, see what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so that's where really the jump off really started with the franchise, in my opinion. And the first super crew was Rockforce. That was the first super crew, where it's like, okay, they're not from. Those members weren't native to the Bay Area.
You can't put them to one place.
Yeah, where it's just like, okay, we're gonna get this guy from Chicago, and we're gonna get this guy from New York, and he's gonna represent. You know, that didn't happen before. It was very local, very regional when we started. You know what I mean? And it was just about camaraderie. It wasn't even about skill yet.
And we talked about exactly the same thing, actually, with Focus and with, I mean, at least it's just coming to my head, and I'm sure it was mentioned with other ones, but you know, there's positives and negatives to I think when we both kind of, when you know, regions had their own styles, and you could sort of like identify a certain style with a certain region, and that's become a bit lost, right?
For sure, because at one point it was like, oh, that's the German style. Oh, Swift and Swift Rock and Storm. Oh, German. You know what I mean? Like, dude, we were like, and it was a very, because we had to keep track through tapes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, here's a freestyle session. Okay, let's watch Havoc Coral. Watch Havoc Coral, yo.
Right.
97. You know what I mean? Look at what they're doing, and then you compare it to what they're doing now, and everything's much more integrated now. Where
Exactly.
it's because it's the competition world. It gave birth to this kind. You could frown on it, or you could be a part of it. You know what I mean? But it's not going away. And people have to understand competitions. Like for example, in hip hop, the only reason why it's connected in hip hop is because these individual industries mention hip hop. Do you understand? Right. Because a DJ competition is not a b-boy competition.
Well, see, we do our homework in these interviews, you know, and I do have a quote from you here saying, and I think it was on a podcast with another Bay Area guy, and I think maybe you did it last year, and I really enjoyed listening to what you had to say about it actually. And now I may have misquoted you, but I think I didn't. And I think you said the disconnect between breaking and hip hop started with the competition era.
Yes. Yes.
So,
well, I mean, because we're talking about definitions of a cultural understanding, and understanding that. Well, all right, because you know, this year makes me 30 years into hip hop. You know what I mean?
Congratulations.
You know what I mean? So it's a weird perspective if it's like you're a 30-year-old coming in, because if you're a 30-year-old coming in, you already saw style elements and you already understood what was going on when you came in at 30. You know, if you're a 30-year-old now, right?
I'm 30.
Right. So it's different when you have Bal the Year and then Rockforce vs. Family available to you. I was there when it was created. You see what I'm saying? So it's a different feeling completely than the reason why that happened and the reason why new kids are getting into it. Do you see what I'm saying? And the competition is it's just like by 2000, when you have Korea winning Bal the Year and that changing the face of Asia, that changed the industry too. Do you see what I'm saying? That Asia in the industry changed, perplexed the whole. Because it was just, for a while, it was just USA and Europe that were providing content. You know what I mean? Tapes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was distributed all over the world. By the time you get to Asia's involvement, you're looking, because I've taught over 1,000 students now, traveling the world. And easily, it's because I was in China that maxed it to 1,000 easily.
Really?
Yes. Oh my God. Because
so you mean like the majority, like a lot of those numbers came from people that you taught in China?
In China, kids I taught in China, because the numbers is just 200. Like, man, 100 a workshop, people show up, something like that.
So was it a bit like could you? I'm just thinking about our old school guys in Belfast that tell us about how it was in the 80s. I mean, at that time, did it feel a bit like maybe how it would have felt with the explosion in the US in the 80s, where it became such a big thing for these?
Well, but it's different because it was that was the commercial introduction of it. Breaking. So it's different because, again, you have to look at the eras, right? To get in, the first time I've ever seen breaking was on TV. It was a show called That's Incredible, and it was 1983. By 84, breaking already arrived in the Bay Area. We saw breaking live. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, shoot.
See, I haven't even got to introduce where you're from or anything, because we just got straight into it. Normally, I'd be like, I say shit like that. I'll be like, yo, he's from here. What?
Well,
we just go straight into some other shit.
Into it, then because it's going to be a half an hour to talk about the history of where I'm from. And let's just go into it and then break it down on the way.
We're in it. Yeah, we're already in it, so keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So, see, and it's like a bunch of flashbacks pouring in. You know what I mean? It's hard to keep track of what. But what was? I'm sorry. I got before I got lost.
No, I put you off track, but I had said like, did it feel, or could it be compared to the big explosion of
compared to what? The 80s
like
compared to
could the what you described about how all the students and stuff that you had in China when the Asian scene exploded in the early 2000s, could that be compared to the big but much briefer, you know what I mean, much more temporary explosion of the United States? And
it's an
because our
interesting
Belfast
thing.
guys told us that in the 80s it was the same in Belfast, where everyone was doing it for a while, but it fizzled out real fast. But obviously in Asia that hasn't happened.
No, because it's a complete. So we have to look at the Asian market, and we have to look at how the infrastructure works generally, and how and culturally. So
Break
that
it down.
I can't compare it to the United States, because the United States treated it like, this is the thing about the United States. We're a trend factory. Every 2 years is a new trend. And that's how the industry works out here. Entertainment, you can't stay anything, and that's why places like in Europe, why jazz was more appreciated. There's just a lasting effect outside of the United States, where it's like, all right, for example, I do security in the United States. I could make good money in Asia as a dancer, but here I have to, like, to be an educator, or in the United States, I'm not making a lot of money, and it really depends on how much I'm promoting my brand and whatnot. Is really more as an independent contractor of whether it's education or entertainment. Even then, I have to do the full-time hustle. Rather, in Asia, it would be actually easier for me to establish a lot more things, or even in Europe, I have more things to offer being an American overseas. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So saying that, Asia has a different hold on the breaking thing. Then is it bigger? It At one point, when I got my first workshop, I ever did my first international national workshop, was in Korea, because they found out I was in the Philippines, and they reached out, hey, we want you to do a workshop, because this was fresh off of me like winning B-boy hoedown, and I was like one of the first winners on YouTube, and this is like 2006. So it's like I really got on. Yeah, I really got on because there was no other. Now it's like, you'd be lucky to see a competition that has 1,000 views. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
unless it's stance, or unless it's from one of the top tier promoters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is it the same? I guess not in scale, because it's just like, you when in Korea, when I was going to Korea from the Philippines at the airport, like, Korean businessmen saw me and they were like, "Oh, B style, B style, B style,
Wow.
B style." Yeah. So it's a different perspective than breakdancer here. In the United States, it was breakdancing. And so for Asia, they understood, oh, it's B-boy. There's a culture. Oh, rather than the explosion in America was just like, here's Twix, eat
So
some
you
candy.
think they saw it? They saw it more as something than to just a way to get a quick buck.
Yeah, it was more. There was more. Yeah, because that's definitely how it exploded in America. It was just like, it was a quick buck, but then it's fizzled out, because how can you make money off a breakdancer? You can't really make money off a breakdancer. They had movies for a while.
Yeah.
But then what took over? Skateboarding took over.
Yeah, because you can sell a skateboard and you can
Exactly.
sell a
There you
helmet.
go. There you go. That's exactly where, when you talk about entertainment driven industry people, there's really move. And now it's just like, B-boys don't need them anymore. Really, like, you don't. You just have to know. You just have to be savvy with your branding, because that's what it is. You have to have a video. You know what I mean? Views and likes do count. You know what I mean? And then networking with the top tier guys, because I talk to those guys all the time. You know what I mean? Like DJ Renegade or whatnot, or whoever. I'm always talking to those guys. You know what I mean? Even though I'm not, and honestly, I haven't been really active as a dancer besides my own personal. Like, I get with my boys and we practice.
Yeah.
But I haven't judged or taught a workshop in a long, like, 2 years now.
Okay. Well, COVID is obviously like, you know.
Right. Well, in 2019, I moved back from Asia to here. So I reestablished my career because I'm, I kind of got burnt out. You know,
Okay.
yeah, I got burnt out a lot, and actually, I'm enjoying myself now with the dance as personal fulfillment, and I teach my friends stuff or whatever. And if you come up to me and ask me stuff, I'll show you stuff. That's no problem. But to actually, uh, because it's a job, to market myself, to constantly talk to promoters, to, you know, set up schedules for travel and things like that. I kind of got burnt out because like since
because you were on a self-funded tour too, right?
oh
Or
yeah,
mostly
yeah,
self-funded.
oh
So
yeah,
that must have led to a bit of burnout, right?
yeah, it was a lot. I wasn't getting the money like right now I work and I'm comfortably financially, right? But then when I was hustling for 10 years, it really put me out. Um so and I just, there's a lot of things that in the community that's happened that's been like surfaced up, these more like, deviant behaviors and like, things like
Yeah.
that, which it's honestly like I knew a lot of those secrets but didn't say anything. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like I'm glad I stepped out when I did. and
Right. And it's
and
kind of what you mentioned earlier about guilty by association, because that shit has kind of ruined Rocksteady.
oh shit.
I
Here we
mean,
go, here we go, yeah.
kind of, yeah, it's an understatement. I mean, all that stuff.
Well, Crazy
I mean,
Legs
I
was
don't know. I
rock.
gotta be careful what I say about this, I
That's
guess.
the thing. He ran the business of Rocksteady. So if without him, no one's gonna run the business like that. So yeah, it's a definite blow because he was everything. He was the epitome of Rocksteady.
He was
And
the image of, and he was Rocksteady. And shout
yes,
out, we spoke to Why Not on this, and like super cool guy. He was really enjoyed talking with him. He was senior vice president, but he resigned from Rocksteady, I think. So
yeah,
then if you've
that's
got
right.
him the president, and if he resigns, then what is Rocksteady after that? It doesn't really
Right,
mean anything,
right,
right?
right. And understand, I saw Crazy Legs since I was 16 years old out here. He was he came out here. You have to understand to understand the business of hip hop,
Mm.
really. And because I was a part, again, where it was we knew it to be a cultural thing of even revolution. And this is, and understanding Black America. Like that was basic to, because it was infused in the music we were listening to
I
at
have all that in my notes here, man, and a lot of it is from that thing that I
that
just.
era.
I really like what you said when you were with. But continue.
So seeing the movement of Crazy Legs really pushed the movement of the educational aspects of hip hop, and this is
Mm,
footwork, this is b-boy, this is called b-boy, not breakdancing,
mm.
and hip hop and bambata, yikes, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yikes! Yeah, is the word.
yeah, where okay, and then we were all sold. Everybody's like, yeah, out here we were like sold, okay. And then the political awareness aspect started drifting off, and here comes the competition.
Right.
Here comes the competitions. So that replaced this kind of cultural awareness of things, which
Yeah.
is like any dumb. Sorry, can I curse on here?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Fuck.
Any dumb fuck could join a competition. And it doesn't have to be culturally aware or anything. I could just spin good on my head. You know what I mean? I spin
Yeah.
it good on my head. That means I'm,
Yeah. Yeah.
that means I'm
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
of this culture. It's like, and everything becomes buzzwords and trendy and like, it just becomes that where it's just like there's no, there's no intellectual value to
Mm,
what's being like the cultural aspect of being
mm.
pushed. Completely ignored.
That's why we're speaking to people like you, is because we have, in Belfast, we have an organization called Fifth Element, and
Okay.
our whole aim is to try and is to sort of like bring what we consider to be a more uh, a vision of hip hop that has a lot more substance, and
Right.
that is a lot more beneficial to the
Right.
youth than what they necessarily just see when they turn on TV.
Or
And
the internet with some of these guys, man. That's within our
yeah,
community, man. Um, I honestly, there's reasons why I stepped out. Like, this is ridiculous, and just hearing like things from 10 years ago, and with people I know, where it's just, this is disturbing. I can't support this at all. So it's just, so understand how, and I dedicated 30 years to this shit. You know what I mean? As a kid, just as a fan and as a participant, and now as an elder. Like, my elders weren't acting right, man. And it's just like, I'm tired of covering up for them.
Yep.
I'm tired of falling into the trap of like, well, this is what we did back in the day, and you should do it too. It's like, wait a minute. My mom paid for my education. Wait a minute. Your street shit is actually making my shit worse. I should have listened to my mom. You know what I mean? It turns into these kind of things. And it's just like, we're better than that. And honestly, when it comes to these, like, all right, because
we got to clean our own house, right?
That's right. That's just period. And people don't want to or don't know how to. And
right.
You have to understand, a lot of these OGs, hip hop is a hustle. There's no ethical integrity.
It's not about helping the youth. It's about
no,
how can I pay my rent.
Okay, I gotta make this cash and look good publicly. And then I'll do all the seedy shit when you're not watching. And it's just like, no, I'm not liked because I'm very vocal. I just got tired. Because I'm vocal, because and understand that it does, at this point, well, then they're burying themselves at the same time by doing stupid shit. You know what I mean? But then I was vocal for a long time. Now people are finding out why I'm vocal, why I've been vocal.
Right.
They're finding out. It's like, oh, because I had personal experiences. It's not a thing where it's like these things that happened to me is a rumor and I'm like just talking out my ass.
Right.
Because it is a rumor. No, it's really, this was a shady experience I had with people. This is another, it's like, okay, this motherfucker's dumb as shit. And they just like him because he's a dancer or OG, whatever. Completely like shut off, like, okay, well, you know what? That's not right to do that.
Yeah.
And I decided to be vocal about it. And I'm not necessarily liked. I don't like, again, I am very much, I very much push for individual thought. You know what I mean? And to know how to be interdependent, but then leadership is a thing that for me came out of necessity, not because it's like I want to be like the king. You know what I mean? Like, and it even reflects in the work field. I do security, where it's just like I'm a senior officer and I'm second in command, and they're talking about promoting me to supervisor. But how did that? So these things can't. What? How did that happen, Rob? Well, I'm surrounded around kind of dumb people. I just know what to do and have the experience to do it, and or at least or just the experience to size up the situation, whether I'm gonna step in or be a part of it, or I have to actually be the one to tell people where to go. Do you see what I'm saying? So that for me, it's very reluctant that I was put in leadership positions, but I see the necessity. So
because I mean everyone, and I think like sometimes there's things you got to do, and you have to do it even because you think, well, if another person was in that situation, you'd want them to do it.
Yes,
exactly. Like we're all set in the hip hop scene that is so.
But that's not people. That is not people. That's individuals like you who are making things happen. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a uniqueness to that. There's people who'll talk about doing it, and don't do it. You see what I'm saying? It's like, you have to be your own leader here. And
no, I agree. Yeah, I don't even. Sometimes maybe even leader is like not. It's just, I don't know. It's very easy to just follow and not say anything, but sometimes you gotta, for the people around you at least. God,
right.
if you're hearing about some weird stuff, but you only know it's happening to people around that aren't necessarily your close circle. I mean, are you just going to say nothing and then it could happen to someone that's like
right, exactly.
Like, and that's not. I'm not even saying that that's the reason that you should you should do it anyway. But like, God, like, I don't know. We all in this scene have people that everyone, like, I never had a teacher for breaking, but I had people that, and I still do, people that I look up to and that mentored me and stuff like that. And I don't know if I'm a mentor to anyone. I don't know. And like, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But with that comes a certain amount of responsibility, right? Which is more than just showing someone moves.
That's right. Especially, well, I taught kids for like 10 years, man. 15 years. Well, now total, with all my travels and everything. And it's just like, it's unacceptable, man. Unacceptable. Because I've actually helped kids. I've actually talked to parents. You know what I mean? And I help shape
I'm a teacher, by the way. I actually am a full-time teacher.
So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like not a break, like I teach in a school, so.
Right. But you understand the interaction with the parents, and then you have to, and you are taking care of minds. There's a responsibility. Like these guys, these old school guys, they're not educated. Where it's just like, why am I proficient in knowing a style that's not native to where I'm from? Is because I fucking studied, man, and I got in the dirt. But then from that dirt, I was able to like come up with systems that you can use to teach. Because the way I learned, they didn't know how to teach. Just do this. You know what I mean? Just do this. It's like that's not teaching. Showing me how you could do something is not teaching. So, but with me, what I'm also been into the martial arts for 30 years. It's so, and the first guy I learned rocking from, for example, he's a retired Marine. So it's just his mind, but he's not like a big b-boy guy. Like he's not trying to be like, on YouTube. It's just he loves it. He does it. He gets, and I'm kind of turned into that guy, where it's just like you'll catch me doing it. You won't see me promoting it in a certain way anymore.
Right.
It's more like if you see it in the person and enjoy it. You know what I mean? It's like I don't break much, but if you see me breaking, I'm really enjoying myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you see me rocking, it's like, okay, it's Rob rocking. He's always rocking. Right? Yeah. But if you see me breaking, it's something in me that wanted to break. Yeah. And that's something special for me. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
In a battle, like someone could call me out, I'm like, okay, let's go. Win, lose, or draw. And that's the feeling, that's the enjoyment, that's the art, and that's the enjoyment. And that's why, and sometimes the industry work will burn you out. Same thing where it's just like, I have to post daily a video or whatever, keep my numbers up, blah, blah, blah. That is industry work. It's very more independent. You might not be getting paid for it, but it is industry work. You might get picked up for a certain video for whatever reason. It might get like 1 million views, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm going to fly you out. It's like, oh shit, I made it. Like, it's not really making it, but reached a platform where you desired. You know what I mean? Based on because it's curating your brand. Curating your audience. It turns into that, and it's like that's what Focus knows, and Rock's Right knows. Everyone who's a BC1 All-Star is taught that how to do that as well.
Yeah, how to market themselves.
Exactly. So, and that's where it's just like you could actually like I know Rock's Right's doing more photography and things like this nature. You know what I mean? It's like again where I stress on diversifying your skill set. I say that 1 million times, where it's just like the breaking community is an incredible network. It's incredible, and it's a very grassroots community. You can
because wherever you go a place to stay, and there's all cool shit like that, and we've all experienced that, and that's super ill. Like
that's probably the best part of why we still enjoy it. But then to base it on something like hip hop, we need to clean the house, where it's just like, and where it's just like, it's obvious to me, like it's Poe is going to be one of the brightest shining examples of our new OGs. Well, he's OG to a lot of people.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
But it's like coming into like where he's already not recognized, but I believe once we get closer to 2024, the Olympics, people are going to be way more known and way more, expanded, with whoever's connected. That I mean, it's sad that since the Olympics, we've been getting people exposed. It's sad.
Yeah, I don't even see that whole Olympic shit like tired me out quite fast, and I know it was kind of the same with other people in my crew in terms of like all of the debate around it. A lot of it I wasn't that interested in. I don't think personally that I'm gonna like watch breaking in the Olympics. I'm not gonna like cancel all my plans to watch it, but
Right.
anyone that, like um is into it, I think that's cool.
You know
If you
what's
know what
happening with
I mean. I feel, and do you know? Sorry to interrupt you, but just to say, I've only met Po One once.
yeah.
And it was me and Paul who's going to edit this video. We were at a little event. It was a really ill event 2 years ago in Germany, and he was one of the judges.
Okay.
And as I met him, I was overhearing a conversation he was having with a couple of German b-boys, and I completely agree with what he was saying to them because they wanted to ask him about it, that Olympic stuff. And he said, man, yeah, that's going to happen, but underground events like this are always going to exist.
I mean, it's
I literally walked into that, and I was like, I didn't quite even think about it much at the time. But
this is what people aren't thinking either. Sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry, no, Don. I'm. You know, you don't. I'm interrupting you. So
these underground events are going to be huge. More, whoever it's going to get bigger. It's just like whoever's like, oh, there's do you know what the WWE?
I love wrestling. So you speak to the right guy.
This and Greco wrestling exists still. They still exist.
And small wrestling events still exist, and people pay.
They still exist. What's gonna happen? Maybe because already in China, this is the thing about China. They already have like over 1,000 dance schools with like. I've been to an event and man, Hap Solo, the king of judging, man, he sat 12 hours judging, dude, 2 days. Most of us who were judging in China were just like, okay, 4 hours is enough. 4 hours here, 2 hours there. Because we are talking China, and there's like how many b-boys total? This is b-girls, uh, b-girls, kid b-boy battle, crew battle. 2 days straight, 12 hours each. Sometimes 13 hours event. Wow. For both days. You start at 8, end at 3 in the morning. Yeah. This is China. 5,000 b-boys, man. 5,000 entries.
And they're all paying.
Yes, dude. This is the level of China. There's no way. Like they're ready for the. They're like, they're ready. China's actually ready.
They got some disposable income that they're ready to spend.
They are ready because you have to understand. I've been to these stadium events, and they are CCP invested. That's Chinese Communist Party money you're seeing there, corporate and local corporate stuff too. So I keep track of like who funds what and why. Right. And yeah, why I was there for 3 years. You know what I mean? I got paid there, man, because I got paid. Like all like Wiggles, Sugar Pop. I would see them there, like, hey guys, like, I was living there, and I would see them often. You know what I mean? Because so they're ready for that platform of the Olympics. The whole thing now really is what does the format look like, and that's what everyone's worried about.
We all have different opinions and shit like that, and that's absolutely cool.
That's fine to have an opinion,
more or less. But I feel like what we really like about you, and I think all the people that we've interviewed to some extent, is that it's obvious to me that you've obviously been in the scene for a long time, but you've done your own research and you actually value your hip hop education, and you have educated yourself in hip hop in terms of the culture, and you have also been educated, and that's right. I have, and my crew has, by our elders, and I feel like that's missing in a lot of young up and coming b-boys, where they don't necessarily, for whatever reason, and it's not to blame them,
it's not,
but they haven't necessarily that aspect of digging deeper into the culture has become a bit lost.
Well, because people don't have to dig deep anymore.
You think that's what it is?
Answers are provided pretty easily now, but the experiences aren't. That's the thing. That's the thing. People could say all they want about what they know. when it's put on the line. You know what I mean? Because you know, there's a positive and negative to everything, right? So the place of mentorship now, again, it keeps dividing as we go along from where we started as a very communal thing where it's just like we're teaching each other, kids teaching each other how to dance, right? That's what it basically was. And then going to parties and blah, blah, blah. That's what it was. That's how it started. And then developing into a place where, yeah, it's good for America to talk about break centers. You know what I mean? To have break centers where there's a few in America, not as much as China. Trust me, they're ready. They got like, their preliminaries are going to be, America is going to last a day. China is going to last like 2 weeks.
Right.
Just to get through all the people who are breaking.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, and this is why I say it's, back to that question of the 80s of the impact of America. No, it's different because there's a set industry behind it. Schools and kids. Millions of kids.
There's an infrastructure.
Yeah, oh yeah. Compared to like something that was like, here's candy to commercial. And here's a breakdancer with the candy that we're promoting.
Right. Someone spinning on their head drinking a Pepsi.
Yes, exactly. And that's what it was, and Legs was a part of the movement to bring education to the b-boy and the hip hop and and then here we are 20 years later. Oh, everyone's criminals and deserve to be in jail.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I guess this my personal thoughts on Crazy Legs is all that shit is pretty fucking wild and terrible. But it sucks that like it seemed like he was doing quite a lot of good work for Puerto Rico and shit like that, and I guess that's basically like all over.
Yeah, man. Well, all right.
You know what I mean? Like it seems like some good is going to be. It's a bit like that guy, that cyclist.
The only ones who know is b-boys though. But he has to change it if he's gonna move. He's always a business guy, man. He's always a business guy. So it's about right now he has to reposition himself financially, which could include like, of course, none of the rocksteady stuff's gonna happen because the b-boys won't support it. But it doesn't mean rappers that he's connected with won't.
Yeah, because I had seen that one or two,
John
like
Leguizamo,
maybe like K-Slay or whatever.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but
okay.
John Leguizamo was on a certain podcast. My friend hosts. He's Bishop. Diza Banjoka, Bishop of Hip Hop. He had John Leguizamo, Spawn. Spawn.
Yeah.
John and the first thing he came out when mentioned of hip hop was Crazy Legs. He doesn't know what's happening. Do you see what I'm saying? No,
because I had seen it on like some other shit that wasn't b-boy related, like even like I don't know if you know like Star, who used to be on Hot 97.
Oh yeah, Star, yeah.
Oh, he went in. But I guess because he broke the Bambaataa story, maybe.
Right. Yes.
But he went in on Crazy Legs. He had b-boys calling, like he had all types of.
I stopped listening to him for a while, so I haven't heard this. Oh shit, really?
Oh yeah. Star was the one that broke the whole Bambaataa shit,
and I know that, but Crazy Legs too. He did something.
He didn't break it, but he kind of fucking, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to put it, but he kind of. Yeah, no, he entertained it, and he had a couple of b-boys on the phone and different people calling up, and different anonymous b-girls and shit like that calling up and talking about some shit. And
wow,
yeah. I'll send you the link after if you want.
Star, bro. No one on the West Coast listens to Star. I listen to Star.
Star is a fucking. The thing about Star, he's for me. I have to admit, I feel bad saying it. He's a bit of a guilty pleasure because I feel like sometimes he says some shit that is just really, really on point. But sometimes he just says some fucking.
That raw New York. He is raw New York. This is one thing. If like talk about toxic male masculinity or whatever, and whatever you want. That doesn't. Star talks New York, and none of that shit affects him. Do you understand what I'm saying? None of the political aspects.
Yeah.
What society?
That's not his niche. His niche will always be outside of that.
Yeah, and that's New York, and it's like if you don't talk like that, you're gonna be like caught in the tidal wave of that, where it's like you're just drowning in it if you don't know how to fight against the current. And that's one thing that I became very loud after my New York experiences, and where it's like I'm not appreciated on the West Coast as much because I'm very vocal, but I learned to be vocal against fighting against that tide of like, hey yo son, blah blah blah, the East Coast overdose. Like really, like okay, fuck you, I'm gonna punch people on the way. It turned into, so that's where my attitude is very differs from a lot of people's attitudes towards the community and the scene, because I, even though I'm born West Coast, a lot of my East Coast experiences kind of shaped my voice. That's for sure. Shape my voice, not like the dance, but
yeah.
You know,
and in terms of how you view the art, maybe
the art, and yeah, and where it's just like it is the blessing and the curse at the same time. Because I learned some beautiful things, but then the price was just like kind of all this trauma, and that I'm like, just like I'm a smart dude and I dumb myself down for kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I refuse to do that. I refuse to dumb myself down for anyone anymore. I'd rather be vocal about my position.
And is that more specific in the b-boy?
Just in general, man, in life.
Rockin, or just New York?
Just in life. Just for me, in my personal experience, in my attitudes, and my approach, where it's just like I have to be very direct, and very concise in how I'm communicating. Like, and I'm not trying to like overbear anyone, but I'm tired of like kind of the stupidity of things. I'm tired of just going along with the group just to go along with the group.
Right.
Where it's it's just like, you know what, the group is dumb. How about that? It's just like, what? And people are in shock. But then and people might feel provoked, but in the end, for example, if I'm investing in an event, what are you going to say to me rather than complain about the judging? And that's the level, and then that's where it ends. It's like, who's the judge? You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? It's like, why should I bow down to people who are just like, oh, the judges were like, you know what? I paid for the judge. Who cares who won? For me,
they got nothing else to say.
Yeah, I fucking provided money for the event. I provided the spot or whatever. I'm in those places now with the community. Where it's just like, I am still a participant. Like I was talking to a couple people today about a venue that a couple people want to use once we open back up, and then providing judges and stuff like. So I'm still in it. You know what I'm saying? And like, for example, my Facebook, like, don't ever join me on Facebook because I
don't even have Facebook.
I'm a lunatic. I'm there. I'm a lunatic. Everything I say, it's lunacy. And I'm very like how, I'm very boisterous and expressive and hyperbolic. So like I wouldn't like, I know I'm insane on there, but why? Because it's everyone on my friends list is a b-boy. So I just talk shit all day because, again, you look at my goals and you look at me as an individual, and then you look at b-boys like, damn, Rob is doing something different.
Right.
Even the secret thing I told you I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm not like, oh, I'm the one who made it, guys. Look at me.
Yeah.
Oh, I told that was in confidence between me and you and the editor. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's all necessary. I feel like sometimes like what could help us is like to look at other scenes more, and like, it's helpful for not everyone to just follow the same lead, and for people to branch off to some extent and do different things and gain certain outside perspectives.
Well, that's the thing. That's
things that can help us,
Dance. This is the beautiful thing about the dance, where it is you can go out and just go off, put music on, and release, and then you might create something from that. But it's about keeping that feeling and not attaching it to like a dogma or a way of I have to be, rather than understanding the science of what you created. Do you see what I'm saying? And then appreciating that science, because that's what we're really talking about. And then when we get into the levels of professionalism, where it's just like, who's leading to me? B-Boy Dojo is leading to me. To me, they're leading in their branding and their scale and what they want to do and where their drive and like who they're shaping and what their product looks like. See what I'm saying?
And how they present themselves.
So that thought, how much time and effort, that's what, if you want to make it, because this is where it becomes, you don't have to be the best. This is where it becomes like, are you talking operations or are you talking talent? Are you just talent? Okay, talent, go over there. Here, just do your dumbass things in the sandbox. Let the big boys talk. We got to talk business so you could keep making your money and winning competitions. This is where I make a clear divide. If you're the talent, get the fuck out of my face. If you're operations, we're going to talk. If you're promotions and marketing, we're going to talk. I have to scale up where it's just like, I can't argue with the talent. I'm tired of arguing with the talent. The talent will never do anything. If your operations, they're showing up to your events. That's where I'm at. I'm tired of, you know what I mean? It's just in it. So there's things to choose within our community and within the industry. And you could actually make it up. You just have to be really on point and study on like what you want to put out there, or if it's an event, or if it's a video, or if it's whatever it is, or if it's a clothing brand. The b-boy community provides a vast, incredible network, but you as the individual has to understand your branding, and it's better to diversify with not events. Where it's like, honestly, man, if you diversify, it kind of fortifies everything else. You see what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely, and I mean, it's better for probably anyone as a person is the other thing, like, because you're trying new things, you're pushing, you're challenging yourself,
right?
And the b-boy scene has plenty of dope b-boys, but it doesn't have enough dope marketers or enough dope promoters or enough dope. You know what I mean?
See, everyone says art, but you think like an athlete. You see what I'm saying? Everyone says, "Oh, it's art. It's art." No, you think like an athlete, and there's your problem. You think like you're the talent. You're just the talent. You're just the talent. No one talks about like Don King or whatever that made more money than the actual fighters. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to see that though. I mean, he was straight. He was basically pimping fighters out. Like,
but then you have to pimp yourself in a sense, is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying about us looking at other. Like, I feel like b-boying has a lot to learn from skateboarding, and has a lot to learn from MMA, and has a lot to look. But sometimes we're so inward looking, where we're just thinking so much about like shit. Who has the best?
Well, all right. For example,
who has the best flares? You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, dude. Like, we can't think about some other shit.
If you are a b-boy and you want to be a host, you have to practice hosting. Like, let's say you want to be a spokesman for a Red Bull, whatever. You got to practice.
Yeah.
You got to practice in front of the camera. Like, what I'm saying to you, we're freestyling, but I had to practice this. You know what I mean? The presentable part. Being able to access words, fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Be articulate. Be able to...
Where I'm not stuck on like, dude, bro. And then,
I trained a lot,
Yeah, because you're going to find a lot of that. And this is not just b-boys. This is like in life.
Yeah.
In life. And this is where it's just like, I'd rather be boisterous than. I'd rather be the loud one and be the asshole one. But at least I'm doing something. You know what I mean? There's something getting done rather than just being a loudmouth and I have nothing to back it up with. There are those people too. Right. So I'd rather be the loud. If I'm going to be a loudmouth, I'm going to back it up.
Right.
So, and that's just my attitude. And again, where it's just like, if you have to really like, it's your goal, whatever it is, it has a predetermination, meaning there's steps you have to maybe even create that no one else, you might have to pioneer. You know what I mean? So it's just like, how do you get there? Well, you have to study everything else that works. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, when I say diversify, like your income, diversify your skill set, just keep diversifying. Just see how much, like, for example, I'm getting offered a supervisor position. It was never my goal to have a supervisor position. I just needed the money at the time. It's just, I did a good job and I was capable and I showed up at the right times and I did the right things. But that was only because, and it's not cut out for everyone, but it was, hey, I didn't know I was cut out for it, but I'm cut out for it. Again, that's another lane. That's another thing that I could go into if I want to.
That's how life works.
Yeah.
But and every new b-boy that comes to I know that a lot of b-boys give classes and stuff like that now. Like, not all of them are going to be the next amazing b-boy, but some of them might be a great fucking photographer or a great organizer. Like, there's a million, even if they're not going to be the best b-boy, there's a million roles that they could fulfill within the scene.
This is now we're talking community. See, I'm saying now
that's what matters to us. That's why we do this shit.
Now we're talking community, and though this is the seeds of the culture, I think it's completely ignorant to say keep speaking like hip hop is a culture when none of our leadership and the ones where it came from was a street hustle where we got hustled. It was because it was. You talk to these old guys, man. It's only about the money and their public appearance. And like I said, I was in the belly of the beast. Everyone was I know everyone's drug of choice. And these are like b-boys, you know. And you know what I mean? Like and things like legs, like that I've been knowing. You know, things so again, we have to be the ones to it's my age group who's stepping up. Like again, focus, you know, and understand that the DJ industry is the DJ industry. And that sliver of DJ competition is a sliver compared to the bigger industry that the DJs
are. There's a lot more, exactly. There's a million other streams that come off of that, and yeah.
So what does that mean culturally? We have to understand that we are community more than culturally. That we are breakers and b-boys and b-girls, and we have to redefine hip-hop now. And that's, if you love it, we have to redefine it. Or you could continue with the industry of it. I have no care. But for guys like me who want to invest in the community, I want the cultural aspects to shine more. And that's just my perspective. And that's just me within my power to do so. Do you see what I'm saying? So we do need more leaders, actually, because I honestly don't want to lead it. I just want to do what I want to do and have fun. That's really the core of what I do. And my goals as being an industry creative powerhouse, you know, as a musician, as a writer, as a stunt actor, as a whatever it is I'm going to be doing. Hopefully Disney will hire me or whatever. And even if that doesn't happen, I still have avenues I could still work with. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm 45 and I'm still peaking. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Still got shit on the horizon, and life is, because I mean, if you only live as a young b-boy to compete, you could get to 45 and be in kind of a fucked up situation.
Because there's injuries, there's, you know what I mean? There's no guarantee. There is no guarantee.
There's no health insurance. There's no they're paying you to sit at home and recover. And I feel like that's what I'm saying is like when I feel like sometimes b-boys, we don't actually realize. Sometimes we think like going to a jam and winning like $300 is like a big deal, you know. But then
if I was 18.
Yeah, but like it's like like you see the money that's in these other sports, and it's like it just absolutely dwarfs. Like it's like, you know, there's fighters that get paid to step in against another fighter that they don't even have any business being in the same ring with, and they might get 500 grand.
Everyone wants to crack that, like, you know, the 6-digit mark when it comes to prize, because it's there's prizes. It's just and then more prize money gives you more fame. Again, it's just like that simulacra kind of shit, man. It's just like
there's no foundation in that. There's no infrastructure.
For the promoter, it's like, okay, this worked, great. And for whoever the winner is at that time, and however long that trend or popularity will last. We you know, again, when I first saw BC1, I was like, it was never like this. Like the first time ever. It's like it was never like this. And I understood it's designed more towards the athletic, because it's the same thing. That's what people don't want to be educated, man. The truth is, they don't want to be educated. They want to go to a sporting event and turn off and just watch stuff. You know what I mean?
And I think that in, like, I'm not going to judge anyone that wants to do that, but then it's obviously that it's not only that's going to exist. So there needs to, as that kind of comes up, you know, there needs to be.
Well, everyone's paying attention to the Olympics because they're just the talent.
I mean, I feel like, though, I mean, let's look at the greater, how many b-boys watched the Olympics, watched 5 minutes of the Olympics before they realized, no one, the Olympics needs b-boying a lot more than b-boying needs the Olympics.
Well, for sure, but then b-boys don't realize that.
So that is the problem, right?
I already said people are ignorant.
That's the problem. People because
again, what did I say? What did I say?
I had watched like a bunch of boxing at the Olympics, but not even that much. It wasn't a big deal, you know.
Right.
But now, oh my god, in the b-boy community, that's why I said we were so sick of fucking talking about it.
All right, this is my prediction. When it gets here, it's not going to be that big of a deal, but it will put a shine on other people who are already doing things, for sure. If you're already in, like have an event going on, your phone's gonna ring. You know what I mean? So it's just like, but again, it's just like the opinion of the athlete, where it's just like, again, you can't value the opinion of the athlete. Not now, unless it's like Muhammad Ali. It's like he's making a cultural difference. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everyone who's throwing an event has a long-term thought and goal.
Right.
But everyone participating do not have a long-term. Well, maybe some do, but then again, if that prize winner turns into an excellent person beyond even the event and that transcends even the dance, a kind of person, wow. We don't even have that. We don't have that, man.
No, we've never had that. We
don't even have good hosts. Yeah.
Oh, MC Tricks is a good host.
Okay, well, he's legendary though. See, that's a different thing. See, but
he's not an active host.
Is he gonna be fit in the genre of the Red Bull? Because that's the format.
He was doing Battle of the Year. I don't know.
He should.
I don't know. I don't know what the Olympics have set up.
Completely awesome because everything came from him. Everything, all the hype up man shit with the breaking.
Yeah.
All his
we had him at our events in Belfast. We had him at Cypher Sessions.
Took everything from him. If you've hosted a b-boy event like me on the mic, you've used his things he said. Like
you're buying some shit from
MC. You've used it. You've used it. You've used it. Because to me, he was the first. I saw him on tape for Valley Years. Like, this is whoa! Like, he was incredible. He was part of my experience, my Valley Year experience. It was like, whoa! Like, his hosting was like, because at the time we never saw anything like that, not on video or anything. Like, for us, it was like these very small events, And if it was a big event, it's like, whoa! To see it on a tape and then editing, his editing. Oh shit! Whoa!
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then Tricks was just like part of that whole environment, that whole
he was part of the whole fucking sort of like brand of Battle of the Year. Yes, you got Tricks there, and like he's a super cool guy. I've met him.
But this is what I'm saying. Will it fit into like the format of like, because people, this is what I believe Red Bull is looking for. They're looking for a certain kind of host that has a look. See, that has a look. But then, I don't think they're even caring if they have a breaking background at this point. Like
didn't they have Sway doing the commentary for a while? Like, you know what I mean? And Sway is a legend, like, and he's from the same.
It's all tryout. It was all tryout stuff. Like, because like Renegade's they're not calling Renegade. They like to have him back, and he was pretty good. Because it's like he's knowledgeable. He was knowledgeable.
A lot of people don't. I know that the guy that said, I said to you, fucking Mr. Freeze said he was going to put the Zulus on me. I know that he doesn't like. Some people seem to not like Renegade. I don't give a fuck, man. I'm so above all that. Not above it, but I'm so over all that. With all that Olympic shit, I hope that everyone benefits from it. Like, I feel like there's a lot of shit that, like, if you're tuning into it, you should know what to expect.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
But then no one knows what to expect because they're still trying out the format. They don't know
you should know what to not expect. Like, you shouldn't be expecting like some raw battle shit, right?
But that's just like the hype versus the actual event, right? And that's what's the case most of the time. You know what I mean? It's the case even now. Silverback. Why was Silverback good? Because everyone was getting money.
Yeah, because everyone's getting paid. I'm
coming away with something. Like, you have a chance to go. That's why that was great, actually.
And I think that's fair enough, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's getting paid.
Yeah. it makes it so, and then you kind of like know where you're at if you didn't make it anywhere. I had to get fit down. But you know what I'm saying? It's but that's what b-boys. But then see, why were people drawn to that? Why were b-boys drawn to that? You see what I'm saying? It's just because of the money. Again, it's just like we can't rely on the talent to really be educated, man. Because they're just the talent. They're just
especially when they're young.
Yeah, well, I mean, the benefit of some young kids is that they have great parents behind them right now, right?
Yes.
Some of the ones that like Suki from Japan, like a lot of these kids have great parents, like Nara,
Stable backgrounds and
three
stuff.
girls, great parents. I met them all. You know what I mean? They're great, and that's like they're so supportive. It's unfortunate that, well, in a sense, I'm trying to protect them from what I know. You know what I mean? You know, like, and
which you should.
Yeah, but it's hard because it's just like you see the raw talent where it's just like this is not, these kids are naturals. They'll smoke and like they're getting to the point where it's just like, oh yeah, these old guys, like, you know,
they can't hang. Yeah.
We're entering the phase 40 and up battle. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Which is awesome. Again, the first time I saw 40 and up was IBE. First time I was like, oh, I'm joining because I'm 40. Like, you know, that was awesome. Or Dirty 30. It's like, yeah, that's for us. See, again, this is community.
And it's gonna exactly, and it's a different lane and a different
where it's just like, don't worry about what's happening. You know, for me, in my opinion, if you fit into what's happening with Breaking Olympics and you can make money off of it, good for you.
Exactly.
Good for you. Is it gonna dictate everything that's gonna happen? No. Everyone
doesn't have to dictate how every b-boy acts or how every b-boy.
Because it's the hype. Once we get there, guess what? The next day after b-boy, where are we gonna find on the internet? That sucked. The music sucked.
Yeah.
How can you be judging? I don't understand the judging. That's not raw. That's all dude. That's gonna happen with the Olympics or not. So look what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a bunch of athletes who say they're artists that are young to know the difference. So,
yo, man, speaking of editing, you have to give me like 10 seconds. I'm absolutely busting for a piss.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been drinking these beers and I can't hold it in. So give me 10 seconds.
I'ma give it to you with no trivia. Roll like cocaine straight from Bolivia. My hip hop will rock and shock the nation like the Emancipation Proclamation. We give C's approach with sling is dead. Them either run into the wall and bang your head. I put the force shit down. I'm making devil shower to the cork.
The second time that's happened.
No problem.
For the other interviews, I've been able to hold it in, but it's just
Man, I did the. Do you know the Epicenter? A couple years back, what that was?
No, I don't think so. Did you mention it? The Epicenter?
No, I never did. But it's what I did 10 years ago. I used to do a podcast, b-boy podcast.
Oh, yo, with your twin, no?
Yes, the profile.
Yes, I did. I do know a bit about that. Yeah.
Trust me, I know what it means.
And you guys were pushing the shit that we've been talking about with like b-boys being more self-sufficient and shit like that.
Yep. Yeah. Because we tried to do a sports center in a sense, right? We tried to do like a CNN, and we did successfully for like a year, but we got no sponsorship. And I even took it on the road. I took it to New York, and I went to Phoenix. I went to a couple of jams with it. And this is before, Stance was even doing all that stuff. I would do like, and this is before the technology was readily available as how it is now. Like I did from a laptop. I would do Skype with the DJ. Like, we really tried to make it a show. But after a year, and we ran maybe every month. Sometimes it was like every week. We tried to do every week, and it just became exhausting. And like again, we were live, and I was running the board and the operations of it. What a nightmare, man! When things would get stuck, and it's just like things would like get stuck, or the video feed wouldn't work. It's like, okay, hold on, and we're live, right?
Yeah. See, we don't do this shit live. Like, So.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah, that's cool. That I feel like we all need a bit more of, like, I didn't say this to you before, which I do normally say to people, but the whole idea of these interviews is like for the hip hop education of our young ones coming up in Belfast.
Yes.
Is, you know, to hear the opinions of people that our crew respects and that we feel like, you know, okay, they can hear us talk all day long about our little opinions and shit like that, but like, especially now with COVID where we can't really be traveling, like, we feel like it could be beneficial for them to hear what people like you and other people that we've interviewed, what their thoughts on hip hop and their stories and stuff like that.
Yes. Awesome.
So that's the kind of idea of all of that, man. And so it is a pleasure to speak to you and to hear your, you know, your thoughts on different things and all that.
Yeah, I'm again, I value, I value real discussions, man.
Me too.
And there's a lot of fluff out there, and there's a lot of posing and positioning. But at the end of the day, it's people who do. You gotta make it happen. You know what I mean? And even if it's against the opinions of others, and it has to rely on your will and your integrity, man, of whether things will complete into succession. So it's just like these things are, to me, is really important. And for me, because I'm highly vocal and highly opinionated, it gets challenged a lot. But then again, you got to go back to the core of what your ethics is, and that goes your ethics, your work ethic, and your drive. You see what I'm saying? Because those things are going to like stand out the most. And sometimes things branch up. Again, it's like, I was surprised you wanted to interview me because I haven't made a dance video in like how long or whatever. But the dance for me hasn't stopped. It's just, again, it's just the directions and valuing the community. And again, protecting the community.
Yeah.
Building a future infrastructure for the community.
Yeah.
Because it comes down to the community. Whatever's relegated under the culture can be debatable, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, throughout time, things will not be valid as much as they are in the present moment or the moment after that.
Things will change, different lenses.
It will happen. But the value of the art doesn't change. And this is what we're trying to maintain, the value.
And how much it helps individual people. And so that's a big thing for us.
Which can help the collective. See what I'm saying? Because we can complain about how what the talent thinks, but we're not talking about the operations who are making it happen.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
if you really want to see something, it should be like that. Well, you know what? Make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. It's like, let the Olympics happen. Who cares? Because if you do your event that has offering more, not money, but value, that's what I mean. Like, because people relate, money to value. But
I feel like it's maybe a sign of how inward looking the b-boy community is, that we're still fighting about the Olympics thing.
Yeah, because again, we're talking about people with limited intelligence. We're talking about people who like, we can't think like everyone is an intellectual.
Yo, man, look at rap. How long has rap been mainstream? Like, how many decades? Now. And there's still, if people are in now, I'm into all kinds of rap.
Right.
But like, there's still, if you want to get the most underground, lyrical, miracle, spiritual rap, it still exists.
Everyone knows that. How come
it still exists, and it's not going anywhere. And it doesn't matter how many albums Drake sells or whatever. That shit is always going to be there.
That is like, that's hip hop now. Lyrical, miracle, spiritual.
But that's just us, that's just like, that's our little joke. I think that's existed for a while, but like that super underground, bars, like, like it doesn't, they don't, like, there's space for everything, and there's a lot of shit that I don't like, but I just don't, I don't entertain it.
Right. You don't, I mean, either. I mean, I know it's out there. I don't have to listen to it. Like, it is like my investment in the Olympics is seeing whose business is gonna like hold water. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
that's cool.
That's what I'm really watching. Like, what's holding water in the business sense. And like because I'm like, because Storm and Renegade, they're really developing. They want a really concise system. Like they're really testing it out. Like and
Yeah.
there's like, and you gotta understand. Most people don't know that Renegade. He's like a computer analyst and programmer. So he has like he has this mind of it where it's just like for me like because I'm big into magic, but I try to find clinical ways of like what it is psychologically and what it means metaphysically through psychology, right? And metaphysical constructs through psychology is my real breakdown. People think I'm like creating portals, like not really, but it's that understanding of the psychology, right? But that's me again. These individuals that are trying to keep something going, or even trying to innovate it, but it does take that mind power. It does take that focus, and not everyone is going to be there with it, man. And that's kind of like, yeah, but it gets annoying if when people are trying to tread on what they don't know. See what I'm saying? That's where it gets annoying, and that's where it's like back to these guys are just talent, and the only way if there's going to be an education is if we provide that educational tool for them.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I feel like it has to be accessible,
right?
The resources and all that, and that's part of the reason for these kind of interviews, and that's part of the reason why that's a lot of what we're kind of missing in hip, because like a lot of the kids, I'm 30 years old. I hang out with kids that are in their early 20s,
right?
And they don't know that rap didn't sound like how it sounds like now.
Right.
And they're like, that's rap, right? And you show them some other shit, and they'll be like, is that fucking rap? Even when someone's rapping, you know what I mean? Because they're just no one's ever been like, yo, let's hang out and I'll show you some like, oh my god, if you showed them like, and I hate saying this because I love, Rakim and Cool G Rap and shit like that. You show them shit like that, and they'll be like,
what is this? Yeah.
It wouldn't, but even if you showed them like Wu-Tang or fucking and the shit that I'm really into, Mobb Deep and shit, they'd be like, I mean, they might just about be able to get their heads around that that's rap, but it's so different from what they're used to. But it's because they're not used to.
They're getting nursery rhyme raps, man. They're getting nursery rhyme stuff, and repeated verses over and over again. That's what they're getting. So, again, where it's just like hip hop, and we just a quick thing because I gotta go soon.
Sorry, dude, I've been keeping you guys not intentionally. I'm not trying to keep you
as well. Lil Yachty and those guys, those Triple XL thing, that was really someone who had a lot of money in marketing. It was just like, we're going to change the face of it, where it's just the skills, all this stuff. You don't even have to work hard. And it was based off of like, what was it, Lil B who did it first, something like that. The Justin Bieber.
Lil B, yeah, he was one of the first. I mean, I would say that like the really, really first one was maybe Soulja Boy,
but Soulja Boy had more content going on. You see what I'm saying?
He had his dance and shit. I mean, like, to keep it real, like Soulja Boy had some. He was a bit of like a marketing genius and shit.
Yeah, he had more. This is what I'm saying. It's just like they were like, let's do less.
Right. Let's strip it down.
Let's strip it down even more. Like, say one word. Like, see, you know what I mean? And is it hip hop? I mean, it's an art. It is art to strip. Like, let's do the most stripped down, and like nursery rhyme. Let's get to nursery rhyme level. I mean, it's art. Do I like that art? No, not necessarily. Is it popular? It's marketed in a way where you can't ignore it. You can't. There's so much.
And it's very easy to consume, right? It's very easy to understand, and it's quite easy to enjoy if you've had a bunch of drinks and you've
If you're at the club, it's like there's no thought. There's no thought, and if the beat is halfway decent, it's either the catchphrase or the beat, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing with that, where it's just like is like club music, stripper music. Things became stripper music.
Absolutely.
That push to the sex industry. That's just what it is. Because that's what strippers dance to. That's
why all this Cardi B shit and all that. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Is it hip hop? I guess in a very vague way is hip hop.
If Cardi B was from North Carolina, no one would be saying it's from hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one would be saying. But and I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but I feel
would say
like
it was trap. And again, see where it's just like, all right, there's just popular mainstream music then, and then there's just all these facets of music that are trying to compete to get to number one. That's just what it is, and we're talking about the same things. You know what I mean?
It's all about sales, and it's all about who's what is earning money.
And then what are we talking about? Guys who travel to visit each other or stay at each other's houses for a certain jam. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're talking about. And what is China talking about? They're talking about going to the Olympics because we want to get out of China. That's really a big thing, man.
Yeah.
To even get out of China or to get out of Asia. You know what I mean? It's so there's all these, like a cross-pollination where it just does converge with the Olympics. It does. You can't ignore that because it's just, but is it going to be this huge thing? No, it's more the hype of it and what people are being shaped from it. How people are being shaped from it. Like, again, this guy Excel got exposed because he was on the committee for the USA Council. If he wasn't, no one would care. Do you see what I'm saying? Legs was about to, let me tell you, man, he's not getting back on. We are in the midst of cancel culture. Even though if he finagled his way in and it was like, okay, I'm still no. There's too much going on for him to even come back.
It's too much heat on him right now.
Too much. Ever. He can't.
Yeah, ever. Yeah.
Because it's like people are forgetting that the internet is written in ink. That even for things that I've said in the past, I'm ready to completely let's go into why I said that.
Yes, we all got our footprints, right? Our online footprints. You can't take back.
You can't take back. Can't take back. So I'm ready to own up to all my shit. Like, hey, my boy, I did do that.
I probably said some dumb shit in these interviews, but no one's brought it up yet. That's why I let the guests talk more.
But it's just an awareness now, right? And it's just adjusting. Where again, a lot of the old school, they hid shit. Where I don't hide anything. So I keep my nose clean. And for whatever I say, I'm ready to back up and have a discussion. And if I'm going to learn from that discussion, I'm going to learn. You see what I'm saying? And that's the point of the discussion. So.
Well, and you were super willing to be interviewed and just super easy to organize the interview and everything like that, which is always very easy, makes it much easier from our side. And just generally also I think is a good sign,
No problem, man. No problem. Yeah. Anytime. I'm glad you asked me, man. That was pretty cool.
Yo, you never know, because I literally got 2 pages of notes here and we haven't even spoke about one fucking thing on it. So
Shut up.
Yo, what up? Yeah, for real. Yeah. So you never know. Maybe in the future we can do a part 2 one day.
Yeah. You can touch on questions you wanted.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
I don't want to hold you up too much. No, don't say sorry. It's been my pleasure, man, speaking with you. I'm gonna let you go, but before I let you go, I know you've got. See, we haven't even spoke about the music that you got on Bandcamp and all that. I don't know if there's any, what I'm saying, plugs that you want to hit, but anything you want to plug before you leave.
Just go to @RobNastyRocker. One word. Any of the media platforms, social media platforms. Go to my music on Bandcamp again, Rob Nasty Rocker. That's pretty much it. And you'll be hearing more of me from whether it comes to events or whatnot. I'm always somewhere into the scene, man. I'm always involved.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us, man. And you never know, maybe we'll do a part 2 in the future. Thank you, man.
Let's do that.